right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. This is the Bandwango how your website is failing your passport. Thank you guys for joining us. We're here to talk a little bit about how your website can be more effective when it comes to selling your passes, getting signups, and just making sure that it's working the best for you. So I'm joined today by our client success director, Ashley McKinney, and we're here to talk through a few different ways that you can make sure that your website is working its hardest for you. So thank you, Ashley, for joining.
As if I had a choice.
Okay. So yes, agreed. All of you guys, and if you're watching this recording, you've obviously found it online, but we are happy to be bringing this to you and to have it available on our website. So you can always find it in the future if you're looking for a guide for the best things to do, or just ways that you can more effectively manage your Bandwango presence on your website. So we are going to jump right in. We are going to talk through a few different points today. The first being, a few different tactics for making sure that Bandwango and your website are well integrated. We're going to talk through different ways that you can make sure you are using our platform and those web pages effectively. We're also going to give you some suggestions for how you can better manage your landing page, and talk through a few different linking strategies and some common mistakes that we see our clients make, so that we can make sure that you are doing the absolute best at promoting your passports with your website. That being said, we're going to jump right into different integration options. So Ashley, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wanted to start out this webinar with just a little bit of a refresher, a foundational kind of reminder about where we are at currently with integrating our elements from Bandwango with your website. And we, as a company, are making a lot of shifts this year as we grow, as we scale, as we formalize our operations. And part of that is really optimizing the conversion capabilities that we have for placing our passes that are hosted with our platform directly onto your website. So previously, we would build out a subdomain offer page where our clients would link from their landing page to our subdomain offer page. We would have the header bar that would be hard-coded to match yours. And then everything was built from our system, dynamically generated. And then we would ask our clients for header images, certain content that we could flesh out that offer page with. Now, the reason why we moved away from this is because we don't want anyone to be having to click off of your website. Everything about Bandwango, all of our marketing best practices and tactics that we suggest to our clients is all about reducing the clicks to conversion. And so we want to help you do that. Now, last year, we rolled out the ability to put the pass sign up and certain dynamically generated elements from our subdomain pages directly onto your website. And when I mention those dynamically generated elements, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the pass sign up module that you can see right here. We're looking at two examples of the Indie Craft Pass. The one on our left is the original subdomain offer page that we set up. And then the one on the right is the landing page that Visit Indie set up on their CMS and then injected certain of our elements. Another dynamic element that we have in our system is the venue list. So that venue list is created when we add products for individual merchants into a pass in our platform. And then we have that venue list of everything that's included in there. We can categorize it on the offer page and create different sections with that. We also have our handy dandy how it works, where we on the landing page have different icons, and we can explain to a consumer when they land on that page what exactly they're supposed to be doing with signing up, purchasing, and then utilizing that pass. Now, a couple of the different instances that I want to show you between them has to do with content. So previously, of course, we'd have our big header image, we'd have text, whatnot. We don't necessarily want to be putting images onto your website through HTML code. That's something really that our clients should be doing, because when you want to change out that image or that content, you should have the ability to do that on your own in your CMS system without asking us to update it. So just to let you guys all know, this is somewhere with one of our new processes that we're going to be rolling out over the next several weeks. Is we're going to be looking at, with our clients that we know integrate or want to integrate, we won't be building out a big, beautiful subdomain page for you. We will be building out a subdomain page where we can do merchant reviews. You can be signing up for the pass and reviewing it. However, we are going to be creating those more as QA or testing pages, because at the end of the day, we want you to take those elements and put them into your website. And we want you to be planning that as part of your process for a pass launch of, yes, I need to create a landing page. I'll need to create, the header section. And then here are the sections where I'm going to pull in those Bandwango elements. So really, a lot of what we're doing this year as a company is working to make our clients more self-sufficient in our platform. This is one way of doing that, so that you guys can have as much control as possible over how you're promoting your passes to your visitors or your locals or whoever that target audience is. And then one other option that we have is we can just give you code for a button. And I always like to bring this up because, some of our clients, they like that we have the ability to utilize our elements, but they want more customization. And in that sense, you can have that. You can have complete customization over your landing page. And all we need to do here at Bandwango is give you, again, 2 pieces of HTML code that you would put one of them in your call to action button that would then evoke the sign up flow, just as any other of our embedded or our subdomain pages would do. And this is a great example. Emily is also going to reference Pikes Peak's website at a later point in this presentation. However, the reason why we like this and the reason why it makes sense for this pass is they, of course, are a group of attractions. Those attractions don't really change. And so if you scroll down, they've created this really cool venue list and kind of why you would get this pass. They've done this on their own. And so they don't need to use our elements. At the same time, their pass doesn't really change. The venues in it don't really change. The offerings in it don't really change. So they can create this landing page, add the sign up functionality, and then not really have to touch it or update it very often. That's not always the case with clients who may have a savings pass or some other pass that's always constantly evolving. So that's why we want to present you with all of these options. And then working with your client success director or manager, we can figure out what the best solution is for you. Now, when I say that we're moving towards only injecting, we will always have that option for a subdomain page. And in some instances, it makes sense for the consumer or the guest to be directed to that subdomain page. I was talking to a client about a savings pass that they only want available to hotel guests. In that instance, we are going to direct that hotel guest to a subdomain offer page. It makes sense in that way. So we're certainly not going to take away that capability. We just want to make sure that our clients are thinking about what is the best fit for them with their web strategy And then we can, and maybe their budget too, or their access to their CMS, if they're really reliant on their CMS company. We want to make sure that you guys have the ability to do whatever you want, all the way from a really simple setup that we've always had to creating your own your own landing pages that are really customizable for what you're trying to accomplish and the look that you're trying to preserve for your website.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I'm going to stop sharing really quickly just to say, if anybody has any questions throughout this webinar, please feel free to address them into the Q&A box or into the chat box, and we will get to those as they come in. So just something to keep in mind. All right, I'm going to reshare our screen and we can get back to our regularly scheduled programming here. Okay, so Ashley, here are some common questions. So questions that haven't come through the Q&A, but we hear a lot from clients. Can you maybe talk through one or two of these?
Absolutely. So this question about subdomain, what even is that? How is it used in Bandwango? Here at Bandwango, we have a lot of terminology that means different things to different people. So the number one question that we get from all of our clients, whether they're legacy clients or new clients, is if we're integrating our pass onto our website, why do we need to configure a subdomain? And I agree, it's confusing. It's taken both myself and Emily a long time to be able to concisely explain this to our clients. And now we're training our new employees to do this as well. The reason for the subdomain being configured is because we are a mobile optimized website, not a native app. So all of the passes that we have, they live on a URL in your browser on your mobile phone. So I'm an Apple phone user. Everything is in Safari. Your pass is on that URL, and the URL, just as it is app.bandwango.com/dashboard/ and then a bunch of different digits for your voucher ID that is specifically tied to your email address. So while we don't need the subdomain landing pages necessarily, we do need that subdomain because that is where all of the digital passes live. And without that, you're going to get a big ol' error anytime someone tries to click on the link in their receipt email or their receipt text message. And then obviously, I mentioned app.bandwango.com. We don't want them to see app.bandwango.com when they get their mobile pass, which is why we white label it through your DNS settings for your website to be that explore.greatriversandroutes.com or whatever that may be. And then another question that we get a lot is from some of our legacy clients about wanting to change their subdomain, the word that goes before their website URL. And when Emily and I were creating this presentation, we asked this question. Mo set up my subdomain 4 years ago, and it's not relevant anymore. Can I change it? Yes, you can. So for example, my client Experience Grand Rapids, they launched a paid culture pass with us. Many of you may not know that, when Bandwango was really getting started out several years ago, our platform was specifically designed for paid passes, and it's been through development with our growing client base and fulfilling their needs that we've really found this niche of free passes and clients wanting to do more than one pass with us. So every subdomain that we now set up, we are asking for a generic subdomain and some sort of action word like explore or experience or fun. Some of our legacy clients, their subdomain is the word that is their original pass. So culture pass, connect pass, anything like that. Now you're doing a brew pass. Now you're doing a restaurant week with us. You don't necessarily want that same subdomain. We can change it. So if that's something that you are interested in, again, reach out to your client success manager and we can get that process started. It has to do with a little bit of reconfiguration on your end, a little bit of reconfiguration on our end, a little bit of downtime. So we have to be strategic about when we're making that change. But moving forward, we can update that so that it can be a generic subdomain that can be utilized across any pass that you launch and host on our platform.
Yeah. Great question. So these bottom two, can you redirect from the subdomain to my website? This is something that we've been asked more and more recently. The thing to know, like Ashley said, about that subdomain offer page is that it houses all of those elements, and the codes that we give to clients are reading information from that subdomain page. So if we redirect from that subdomain page to your website, we're kind of hindering that communication point, and there's really not a good way to kind of perform that action. Instead, what we recommend if you don't want any more traffic going to your subdomain offer page is that we hide it from search engines. So this is the second question: when should that happen? If you've got an existing landing page on your website now where you've got Bandwango Pass elements integrated in so that people can sign up or purchase straight from your website via those integrated elements, then what we can do is go into our backend and hide those subdomain offer pages so that they're not indexing in Google. A good test of this, if you're curious about whether or not your subdomain offer page is currently indexing, just Google, the keywords. So if you are, Visit Houston's Experience Marketplace and you type that into Google, the first result that you should see is your integrated page. If you see the subdomain appearing there and you don't want it to, let us know and we can hide that for you. We want to make sure that you've got an integrated landing page live before we hide the subdomain offer page, but we can do it at any point after that page is live. So something we recommend to clients who have that integrated page live on their website in order to keep consumer confusion down and make sure all of their traffic is going to that page. Okay, so now we're going to get into the fun part, talking through landing pages and some strategies that you can use to be most successful in creating these landing pages that really drive results. So we've got a few client examples to show you, some common mistakes along the way, and just a little bit of insight from Ashley and I in terms of what has worked best or what you should be thinking about when you're building these landing pages. So first things first, the beauty of creating a custom landing page using Bandwango elements is that you've got the flexibility to also feature different parts of your website or even, create campaigns or, information on that page that is relevant to your passport. So this scrolling image is KCK's Taco Trail landing page. It's a beautiful page that they've built out using our product cards so that people can sign up from the page. But you see that they've also got this nice little blog segment in there, which talks about, the different pieces of content that are related to tacos on their website. Use your content effectively and make sure that you're not only thinking about how to link your Bandwango pass with the rest of your content, but how you can make sure that people who are interested in your passport are also finding content that's relevant to that niche segment on your website. KCK does a really good job of this by showing not only that blog listing, but also using a crowd riff element at the bottom of the page to pull in hashtags from shared photos on their social media. So they have kind of a hashtag campaign that goes along with their passport where people can share their journey along the KCK Taco Trail and be featured on this page. So really, the beauty of those elements is that you can customize, you can make this landing page work for you, whether that be making social a part of that page or linking off to some other relevant pieces of content from your landing page. Another good example of making sure that our elements are working within your pages and using some customization to make the consumer journey a little bit more smooth is represented here by Discover Long Island's page. You can see that they have integrated not only our beautiful offer card there, but they also have our venue lists on their page. And they have, kind of a robust array of venues included in this passport that are divided by neighborhoods. We have categorized their pass by those different neighborhoods like Bayshore, Farmingdale, Greenport. And so the cool thing that they have done is they've actually built in some anchor links that can drop people down to those relevant neighborhoods. This is something that they have built within their system that just drops people down to the module on the page that they have integrated. So they're telling their website, hey, when someone clicks this Greenport link, drop them down to this container within the website so that they can see the venues associated with Greenport in this pass. This is a really good way to kind of consolidate your page or make it at least feel a little bit shorter. If you feel like your venue list is really long and that's hindering the consumer experience, anchor links are a great way to kind of narrow that field of focus for your website visitors. Okay, so next up, we've got kind of like a little shout out here to our client success manager, Benny. This is his personal pass landing page. And Ashley and I kind of wanted to talk through maybe some common questions or, things that we try to steer clients away from using Benny's example here. So you'll notice here that one of the primary things that your eye is drawn to immediately on this page are all the buttons. We get asked a lot of questions about our buttons. Can we make them bigger? Can we make them bolder? And the thing that we like to remind clients is that, a consumer really knows when to click a button. And when they click that button, that performs another action for them. So what you see here with the see what's included, we like to anchor link that verbiage because it drops them down to those venue lists, which is kind of a less obstructive way to see that information. We want the clickable thing on this page to really be that sign up button because that's what we're driving them to do. And what we have noticed is that when clients get too button happy, when they try to really push people to perform that action, it adds to confusion and doesn't necessarily add to the consumer journey. Instead, it's very kind of obstructive because people don't know which button to click. That's why we use a single focal point of that sign up button within the product card to really make sure that people know which action they are supposed to perform on that page. And they can decide, to either do that before or after they scroll through that venue list. So one of the things that we try to steer clients away from is getting too button happy or link happy on these pages so that we make sure that the ultimate action that a consumer is performing when they land on this page is to click sign up. And I know that Ashley has a good example of that as well. Maybe.
Sorry, I was on mute. Absolutely. So I think something before I tell my little anecdote as well is important to remember. And I know we all know this. We're all doing so many things in our day. I certainly never think about this at the forefront, but especially because I work on a desktop with a big monitor, thinking about how these websites are interacting with mobile. I was on one client's website on my cell phone the other day looking for our pass, and I had 3 pop-ups that came up. I had a cookies pop-up, I had a promotion pop-up, and I had another one all on my very small, which is actually really large, iPhone 11 screen. And it just was a reminder about, wow, really think about mobile. And the instance that we had with one of our clients on a page like this is we had it set up, for desktop. On the left-hand side, where on this page it says, hey, didn't see you there, and there was a button, they had included a link where someone, if they were a business and they had landed on this savings pass page, they could sign up and voice that they were interested in becoming part of the savings pass as a merchant, which, yes, totally great. your savings pass is going to continue to evolve. That's a great way to capture those interests and leads. However, on mobile, the consumers or the visitors to the website, they were seeing that first, they were clicking on that, and then they were very confused as to why they were being asked to put in their information and weren't actually getting a pass. It's because on mobile, that call to action was higher than the pass sign up call to action. And we, didn't really catch that in the beginning of their page layout. They wanted that there. We didn't really question it. But then in actuality, it was hindering the user experience when they were on this page and creating confusion. So while I think it's a great idea to have a form for merchants if they're interested in participating in the pass, we want to make sure that that call to action is after the pass sign up, because at the end of the day, that's what we're really going for with these landing pages.
Yep, excellent point.
All right, so another question that we get quite a bit, especially as we're getting more and more clients that are launching subsequent passes with us that are evergreen in nature, so they're always available to be signed up and utilized, is can we put multiple product cards side by side? This is an example here for our client in Southwest Illinois, Great Rivers and Routes. They have done 4 passes with us. One was only a spring pass, their Eagle Watchers Passport, which was really successful for them. It was a gamified pass around sites where you can see wintering bald eagles. And so that's why we only have 3, but they have launched 4 passes with us, all free so far. We're just now getting into paid ticketing and tour operations with them, which will be our next initiative. They want to drive to their subdomain, but they only want to drive to one page. And so we've set up their main subdomain, which is explore.riversandroutes.com, to just host their 3 free passes. Now, it's a little bit of a different user experience because you do have the opportunity to sign up for multiple passes at the same time. Normally, this page would have 1 product card on it. You would have the sign up is the only call to action, and then we would include our venue list, or we would include something else like that on the page, so it's all right then and there. In this instance, you'll see here that we have added learn more buttons to each product card. That actually takes the user to another page within our system. And that's the one that has the big description about the pass and what, the prize is and what they're expected to do with the pass, and then what are the stops along that pass. Additionally, another difference here is that when we click sign up, it actually adds to your cart. So normally if there's 1 pass, it'll go straight to that sign up form that we showed you previously on Pikes Peak's website. But with this, we're actually having a shopping cart, even though it's all free things, and you can add 1 pass or you can add all 3. They will all be delivered to you, and on your mobile phone, you'll be able to access through your home button all 3 of these passes at the same time. So it is certainly possible. We also have the ability to do this combination with free passes and paid passes. So we have a client that is going to be launching an initiative that is a mimosa trail. They have a very large brunch scene in their destination. They also want to sell tickets to their trolley. We don't want to include that in the pass. We don't want to include 2. We don't want to create 2 passes, one that's free and one that has that added paid trolley element. So our solution was, let's have the free pass that you can sign up for if that's all you want to do, and then also have that extra add-on for the trolley ticket if you're interested in that. So this is also something that we're going to be working through with our clients, because again, we started out with so many clients that had 1 or 2 passes, and now we're really seeing everyone utilize our platform for different initiatives throughout the year and create 3, 4, or 5 passes in a year. So we just want to let you guys know that if that's where you're headed and you want to be driving to a landing page with all of your offerings, it is possible. It may not be the most, effective UI right now, but that's something to, as you know, with Bandwango, we're always trying to be better. We're always trying to develop new capabilities, make that user experience better. but it is a possibility right now. And then 2, I wanted to show you on the next slide what that Learn More button looks like when we've integrated. So this is an example of our client in Woodinville Wine Country. They have a number of tasting passes with us for their wineries in their destination. And what you're looking at right now is when you click on one of those, you'll see maybe in the background, there's the add to cart, there's a Learn More. This is integrated within their website, and their design team has customized the CSS so that everything is skinned with their colors, their style, their fonts, whatnot. And then when you click Learn More, all of that Learn More information that on a subdomain is an entirely new web page, it is actually now immediately and automatically a modal pop-up. So you can still get venue information, you can still get specifics about that pass outside of just the product card highlights, but it's gonna be a modal. You can't add to cart within the modal. You'll see up on the upper right-hand corner, there's that X, and then you come back to the original landing page to add to your cart. And then if you leave, your cart will follow you around, et cetera, et cetera. So wanted to make sure you guys saw that as well from an integrated perspective of what we can do with those Learn More pages.
Yeah, great point. So next we're going to move on to website navigation. So this is something that I talk to clients pretty frequently about, because what we see is that when a client launches a new pass, a lot of times they will build out a beautiful landing page. They'll probably link that landing page on their home page, but inevitably they launch another campaign, a huge event comes to town, and that homepage banner where maybe that passport lived at launch will disappear. And then there's nowhere that their pass is linked within their website. So linking strategy is the foundation for long-term success for your pass. And I really can't, drive it home enough. It is the biggest indicator of whether or not your pass is going to be able to kind of continue on its own without you having to pump paid advertising in it. Your linking strategy is the foundation of your past success. So, take it very seriously. We have pulled out 3 different examples of how clients have used their website navigation to drive traffic to past landing pages. All 3 of these are great examples. So up top, you'll see Trumbull County has a landing page specifically for their passes. So they're planning to launch multiple passes with us. They just launched their Italian food trail, which looks delicious. And those passes live on that pass landing page, so that when someone comes to that page, they know where to go if they're looking for those passes or those experiences. A different way to do this is in the navigation below Trumbull County, you'll see Visit YOLO County's page. They have a paid wine pass, and they link it through the very top of their navigation in a way that is really kind of interesting and cool. They have that wine pass text be a different color, so your eye is really drawn to it, and it's very clear where you're going to go if you click that link. One of the other kind of common problems that I see with the website is sometimes clients will have really cool name for their passes or cute branded names, and sometimes this can lead to trouble in website navigation, because sometimes the passport doesn't immediately queue up in your head what it is. YOLO's navigation here is great because you can tell immediately that you're going to a passport that's going to get you some wine. And same thing for Dublin's example below this. Their Celtic Cocktail Trail is part of their Things to Do dropdown, which is another really effective way that you can use your website navigation to link to a passport landing page. So, again, make sure that if you've got a really branded name for your passport, you're using common language to describe it. If you've named your savings pass, SIP and Discover, Passport, sometimes it's best to kind of just rein in that kind of branding so that your navigation can direct people to a place where they know exactly what they're going to get. So all three of these examples are really good ways that you can use your website navigation to your advantage and make sure that your passes and your pass landing pages are linked effectively throughout your site. The other way that you can really optimize your linking strategy is making your itineraries work for you. So a really good example, again, of this is Pikes Peak. They do an excellent job across the board on their website navigation. You can see that they make the distinction up top between their coupon, their savings pass with Bandwango, and their ticketed products here. And they use the same tactic that Yolo County employed, where their ticket button is a different color than the rest of this navigation. So your eye is immediately drawn to it. These, what we're looking at on the screen here, are part of their itinerary section. So when someone goes to plan your trip and itinerary, they have the option to choose through a bunch of different itineraries that Pikes Peak has created. A lot of our clients' landing pages are itineraries or blog style posts that count down the top things to do. Make sure that your pass is linked here as well. These are really effective ways that you can drive people to actually get what you're talking about from the itinerary in their own hand. So here's our example from Pikes Peak. This is their day one outdoor attractions itinerary. And as you scroll, you can see that the first option here is to go to America's Mountain. And they have this great little buy now button that's part of this whole itinerary here. So that when someone clicks this buy now button, that form takes them, or sorry, that button takes them to this landing page where they can learn more about general admission. But you could also use the tactic that Ashley described earlier, where that button could slide out a sign up form. So if you've got a free pass and you mention it in one of your itineraries, pop that sign up button right in that itinerary so that someone can sign up without ever having to leave that flow of, getting an idea and inspiration for what to do during that trip. So the next thing that you can do to make sure that your website is directing traffic to your landing page is to utilize, your run of site banners. So several of our clients are using services like DTN, where people can purchase banner ads within their website. But you can also pop these in even if you don't have a service like DTN doing that for you. So this is a good example. This is KCK's page, but I popped in a banner ad to show you guys how this could work. So this is their free things to do page, and they've got a little white space on the right-hand side of their page, which would be perfect for a small banner ad about their taco trail. Utilizing those banner ads, you probably have those images, in-house from your ad agency, or if your marketing team created them for you. Don't feel like you can't use them on your own website to drive traffic to those landing pages. You probably have a few pages where it makes a lot of sense to maybe drop in just a small banner, maybe a square banner like the one that we see on the screen here, so that people who are poking around your site and looking for things to do can find your paths from those relevant pages. And this is a tactic I tell clients about, especially when it comes to events pages. A lot of our clients' top pages are an events page, which you may not immediately think about when you think, oh, someone's looking for something to do. But typically, events pages are a great first stop for visitors because they are looking for things to do on a particular weekend that they're visiting. So your pass is still relevant content, even on a page that might not be geared necessarily towards free things to do or food and drink. So don't let your own thoughts of what a consumer is trying to do on your website stop you from trying things out. If you place a banner ad on that events page and it doesn't get any traction, No harm, no foul. Delete it, try something else. But you're probably missing out on some really kind of key people because maybe the pages that they're visiting don't have mentions of your passport on them. So just something to think about there. So we want to kind of round out this webinar with some tracking clarification because we get a lot of questions about what we track or misconceptions about what kind of stats we can deliver to our clients. So this little slide is we track this, not that. So what we track signups for your passport, and that information is loaded into our Bandwango backend where you can pull those really specific reports. It's also pulled in through Google Analytics. Google Analytics shows about 90% of all of the activities on your site because people can block cookies in Google Analytics. So something to keep in mind for your tracking is that Google Analytics is a great source of trends, of an idea of where your people are coming from, but the backend is the ultimate source of truth for your signups. And we'll get into that in a later webinar to talk through things that you can track in your Google Analytics, but just something to keep in mind there. We do not track every time someone opens their mobile passport. So we get this question a lot. How can I tell how many times someone is opening their passport? We don't currently track that. You can get an idea for how many times someone is opening their mobile passport because of check-ins. They have to open their mobile passport every time they check in or redeem, but we anticipate that it's happening probably a lot more than that. This is something that we're working on. We might have it in the future. It's not available right now. We track how many people are sent text messages or emails through a given messaging push. So using Bandwango backend messaging, we can track how many people are receiving your text messages and emails, but we do not track email open rates. So this is, again, something that, we're always optimizing our messaging and trying to get more effective at reaching your audience and giving you those key statistics. But right now, we do not track email open rates, and we can't tell you what that average rate is. We also track free passes that slide the checkout banner. So one of the things that you may have noticed in your Google Analytics is when someone is clicking the Add to Cart button, sometimes those clicks in Google Analytics will seem a little bit wonky. You're like, how do I have 96 checkouts, but only 80 add to cart button clicks? Sometimes when people are performing those actions rapidly, they're clicking the button and immediately seeing that form slide out. What we're doing is actually skipping steps in that checkout process so that immediately they see that form. So something to know if you're a free pass client, the tool and the event that you should really be focused on to track how many people are clicking that button and going to the sign up page is checkout. So just something to know when you're looking at Google Analytics. If you are a free pass client, you want to be focused on checkout and purchase. We do not track people sharing their passport on social media pages. So we have gotten a lot of questions about, how can a person share that they've reached 11 stops on our taco trail? We don't have that capability yet, but we are looking to optimize in the future towards that social sharing ability because it is something that's really interesting and compelling for us. Right now, we don't have that functionality. If there's ever a question for you in terms of what we track or if we can share a statistic with you or, a certain KPI from your passport, reach out to your client success manager and they'll be able to tell you, maybe we don't track this, but instead, why don't you think about it like this? Or why don't you look at this statistic? Because we think that it could be similar. So if you ever have a question about tracking, don't hesitate to reach out to your client success manager. Okay, so wrapping up now before we answer any questions we may have received, some key takeaways here. Integrate your landing page using that dynamic HTML code. encouraging all of our clients to begin integrating those landing pages because we want to make sure that your pass is really benefiting from the traffic that you're already driving to your website. We also want to make sure that all of our passes have their own little website. You know, we want to make sure that either you've got that learn more button so that someone can see which venues are included in a passport if all of your product cards are on the same page, or they've got a landing page they can go to see that depth of information. If you're integrating, make sure we're hiding those subdomain offer pages from search engines. And again, you can do that really quick check yourself and let your client success manager know if you do have an integrated page and your subdomain offer page is still appearing in Google. Let's make sure we hide that to avoid any consumer confusion. You want to make sure you think through your linking strategy. You know, link your passports in your navigation and on key landing pages, either through those banner ads we talked about, your sign up or purchase buttons, or through just mention links in those blogs or on those key landing pages. Try not to overuse buttons. Make sure that you have that focus be on the sign up buttons so that you're really kind of driving to that ultimate KPI. And to Ashley's earlier point, make sure that your mobile view of your landing page is driving towards that sign up click. Know what you're tracking and set KPIs. So this is the key thing here. Make sure that you've got some goals for your landing page so that you can look back in 6 months to see if what you're trying has been successful. Don't be afraid to test out new things to drive traffic to those landing pages or to set up those landing pages a little bit different and see how that affects things on your website. Okay, so now we're going to get to any questions that may have rolled in during this webinar. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing our screen. There we go. Okay, so it looks like we did such a good job. Nobody had any questions, which is great to hear. Thank you guys again for all of your attention during the webinar and for joining us today. You know, it's a really fun thing to be able to talk to current clients about things that they could do better or differently. But your client success manager is always here to have these conversations with you. So if you do want to have a one-on-one about anything we talked about today, or if you're watching this recording and want to talk to your manager about something that you heard on today's recorded webinar, then absolutely reach out to them. We're always here to help you be more successful here at Bandwango. So thank you guys again. And thank you, Ashley, for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for putting this together, Emily.
All right. We will see everybody on the other side of this. Thanks.